Today we will be going over 4 NRL players that have played in the NFL. I guarantee some of these players you would have never known. I hope you enjoy. Jordan Mailata has a rags to riches story worthy of Hollywood. 4 years after entering the NFL's Pathway program for foreign players with little or no American football experience, the 24-year-old has learned the game well enough to get a starting position as the Eagles' left tackle. With that comes a 4-year deal worth an eye-watering $108 million, making him one of Australia's highest paid sportsmen. Jordan grew up in Sydney's West, dreaming of playing rugby league professionally. With Samoan heritage, he had plenty of athletic ability and was certainly big enough. Plus, he had 5 brothers to practice with. He was making junior representative teams, and at 17 his dream looked within reach, when suddenly he collapsed at training and was rushed to hospital. He was diagnosed with a genetic heart disease which requires 2 surgeries and 2 years away from rugby league. But he came back and made the South Sydney Rabbitohs under-20 squad in 2017, playing alongside current first grade stars Campbell Graham and Colin Matungi. They remember him as a gentle giant who could make a big impact off the bench. His highlight reel from that season shows him steamrolling over opponents. However, at the end of the season he was told he was too big and lacked the endurance required in rugby league. With his dream shattered, his agent sent his highlights reel to the NFL, and they liked what they saw, a huge man with good speed. He was invited into the Pathways program in 2018. When he got there, Jordan admitted he knew nothing about the game, but was willing to learn. Through the 2018 training camp, Jordan excelled, but didn't know if he'd done well enough to get called up into the draft. Would a club risk taking a guy with 0 experience? The Philadelphia Eagles did, picking up Jordan as the 233rd draft pick, and his education on how to be an NFL professional began. 2019 was spent learning, on the minimum wage. He was on the practice squad, watching, learning, and incredibly putting on weight. At around 140 kilograms he was considered too small, although he went up to around 160 kilograms by the end of the season. He impressed the coaching staff with his play, his determination and his footy brain, and won the starting spot that sealed his mega-rich deal. Jarryd Hayne's unique running game lit up the 2015 NFL preseason, catching the attention of intrigued Americans accustomed to the ad-lib style that many naive Australians thought had the potential to make serious inroads. It was different. It was enthralling, but it was also his weakness, according to American icon Trey Wingo. The sports presenter, recognized as the face of ESPN for over 2 decades, believes Haynes' strength was in fact his downfall, as he was unable to mold his game to suit the overseas code's intrinsic physical requirements. He said, "It's a different running style in the NFL. You have to have a lower center of gravity because you don't want to get hit. You want to make people miss. If you look at the way he runs and the way he plays, he's running upright. See how tall and straight he is? That's an easier target to hit, and those guys in the NFL are going to find you." That was the biggest problem for him and why it didn't work for him. You really want to have a lower center of gravity, and you don't want to run so upright, which makes you a bigger target. Hayne left the NRL behind as the club's best player after a Dally M medal season to test his superior talents in the uncharted waters of the NFL, spending a brief season with the San Francisco 49ers. Where he played 8 games as a running back and kick returner before being kicked off their roster. An impressive preseason highlight reel featured a number of barnstorming runs, vigorous fends and spectacular catches. 3 fumbles, although a cardinal sin in the Giant code, was all it took to drag his unthinkable dream to the ground. In his first attempt at a punt reception, Hayne dropped his lollies on primetime television during the 49ers season opener against Minnesota. That costly mistake saw him make just 8 appearances over 2 years. If there was a second division team where I could get those mental reps of being on the field, 100% I'd go back to the NFL. I'm at the end of my career where I really have just got to go on the field. I just want to be on the field. I played 8 games in 2 years, he said. Holmes began his pursuit of a career in American professional football in 2017 after being released by the NRL's Cronulla Sharks following the conclusion of the 2018 NRL season. In the US, he was assigned to the New York Jets as part of the NFL's International Pathway program, but the running back's hopes languished on the team's practice squad after rushing for just 9 yards in 11 carries and recording 85 yards in 8 catches during his limited appearances in the team's 4 preseason games. Holmes failed to make the Jets' 53-man playing roster and did not play in a regular season NFL game. When he returned to the NRL, he returned to the North Queensland Cowboys, and Parr described Holmes as a wonderful signing for the NRL club. It wasn't long ago that Valentine Holmes was one of the best players in the competition before his courageous decision to go to the NFL. His form in 2018 was as good as any player in the NRL, particularly in the second half of that season. He's a proven big game player, he's won a grand final and he's played some terrific football for both Queensland and Australia. Prior to his NFL release, Holmes told AAP he had planned to stay with the Jets until the end of the season, before deciding on whether to return to the NRL. Joining the New York Jets has been an awesome experience, once I would never change, he said. I made personal and professional sacrifices to secure the opportunity to pull on the Jets helmet and uniform. I will live with no regrets around my decision to pursue an NFL career. The Newtown Jets achieved miraculous success in the 2019 season after winning both the New South Wales Canterbury Cup and the NRL Interstate Challenge in dramatic circumstances. Scoring tries in the final minutes of both games showed the Jets to be a team who dared to entertain. 43 years ago, the Jets also showed their intent to thrill the crowds after signing Oakland Raiders running back Manfred Moore to play in the New South Wales Premiership. In recent years, the rugby league community has followed the fortunes of both a New South Wales Welshman and a Queenslander as they chase their dream of playing and achieving success in the NFL. The fortunes and exploits of Jarryd Hayne and Valentine Holmes have been well documented. In the context of the Hayne/Holmes experiments, Newtown's bold 1977 move can be better understood. Moore, who holds a special place in rugby league history as the first American to play rugby league in Australia, died recently at the age of 69. He won a Super Bowl with the Oakland Raiders in 1976 and was persuaded to try his hand at rugby league in 1977 by Newtown boss and media entrepreneur John Singleton and club secretary Frank Farrington. Moore had immediate success in the Australian game, scoring the Jets' first try of the season against the Western Suburb Magpies at Henson Park. After a brief 4-game career in the greatest game of all, Moore called it a day and returned to the US, where he became a punt returner for the Minnesota Vikings. His career in rugby league may have been short, but it left a mark on the landscape, and Newtown achieved great publicity for the club following the bold move. Coach Broughton was always one to explore new ground, and when the opportunity came to include a player from the NFL to provide an edge, he embraced it. He lives on in Newtown and rugby league folklore, the only player who managed to score a first-grade rugby league try and an NFL touchdown. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new. See you in the next one. Goodbye.